Hello, I hope everyone is fine and ready to sit for the exams. So welcome to this short video lecture that we prepared for orientation on how to use the special answer sheets, which we will be using for your exams, both for pre and post-internship examination. So we are going to use special answer sheets. I hope, or maybe some of you may have used this answer sheet at your universities, or for those taking the post-internship exams, maybe you used the answer sheets during your pre-internship exam. I would really encourage everyone, even those who have used this answer sheet, to take some time to listen and look at this video, because it is very important that everyone is very comfortable to use the answer sheet and follows the instructions, because according to the current guidelines, if you make any mistakes in filling, especially your exam ID, MCT will not do anything to correct the mistakes, and your examination results will be nullified, and you will have to take the exam again. So please be attentive and follow the instructions so that you don't lose your time in taking the exam that is going to be nullified. So I think just very quickly, these answer sheets, I will show you how they look like, but what gadgets you will need to use or to come with in the examination room. It is important to come with a very nice and sharpened pencil, to come with the eraser, so that you can clear in case you make any mistakes. Of course, a pencil sharpener, so that you are not borrowing, because you will not be allowed to borrow items from other candidates in the examination room. You can also come with a pen, but I think the use of a pen, particularly to these answer sheets, is very limited, and I will explain shortly why we don't encourage using a pen for most of the sections of the answer sheet. So the answer sheet will look like this, and we have tried to make it simple that all the examinations will use the answer sheet that looks the same. So it has the top section, which is written examination type, and then exam ID, which is the 9 digits that everyone has as a special identifier. It has a section to fill in your examination center, and of course the examination date. So I think the first thing that will identify your answer sheet is to write your respective examination that you are taking. So if you are taking pre-internship MD examination, the medical paper, you have to write here pre-internship examination medical paper. So these are the areas which you will also have to fill. So the first box here is the exam ID, which is the special 9 digits that every candidate has. So make sure you fill in this box your 9 digits exam ID. So in this box, you can use a pen, but to avoid any mistakes, better to use a pencil. And then the exam center. So if you are taking the exam, let's say in Mwanza, you write here Mwanza, and then the date of the exam. And remember, if you are taking, for example, MD pre-internship exam, and we know this exam has 2 papers, so you write MD pre-internship medical or MD pre-internship surgical. For those taking DDS, the same, DDS pre-internship maxillofacial or restorative. So how to navigate on the answer sheet? Once you have written your 9-digit exam ID, that everyone has a special ID, you have to move these same digits in below this section. You will see there are 9 boxes here. which will be labeled exam ID. So you have to fill those numbers, every number in each box, and then using a pencil neatly, you have to shade the respective cycle which corresponds to your digits in your exam ID. So the way we fill this exam ID in this box, because this is a area where the mobile application that we use for marking will scan to pick your exam ID and sync it with your marks in the marking system. So this is the area that you have to be particularly very clear that you don't make mistakes, and in case you shade the wrong number, we will not do anything to correct the mistake, and as I said, your results will be withheld and nullified. You will have to sit for exam when next offered. So what you do, you go horizontally, but also vertically, but horizontally as you go to the right. So let's say this is your exam ID, and you write the same numbers in these boxes respectively. So you shade the corresponding number to the cycle. So for example, you have to shade in full 1, and then go to number 2. In the same manner, you go to shade number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you see here this exam ID has a 0, so we have to go back and shade the 0 which correspond to this number, and then 9. So this is how you should fill. So you are filling vertically but horizontally corresponding to the numbers, and not like shading 3 to this cycle here. If you do this, this is a different number, and the app will not identify this number, and obviously you will not get your results released. So also remember to fill your examination center. So for example, Mbeya, and of course the exam date for tomorrow is let's say 22nd March, but it depends on the exam date. So I said this is a very critical area that everyone has to fill correctly, and you have to double check. In case of doubt, you have to ask for help. So this is an example of a well-filled exam answer sheet. So the first thing you have to do is to write the respective exam. Pre-internship, DDS, maxillofacial, and then the 9 digits exam ID, the same number you fill in this box below, and then you have to shade correspondingly vertically and horizontally according to your exam ID. So once you have finished this initial phase, which is the identification phase, to specify every candidate will have different details, and these are the details that we will pick from your answer sheet and upload in the marking system. Now that we are ready, we have the answer sheet filled appropriately. Let's take an example of how to use the answer sheet to answer questions. So for example, this is question number 1, which says, which one among the following animals is a reptile? So let's say if the snake is a reptile, and this is the correct answer, and that letter will be C. So you have to go to question number 1 and then shade in full the cycle that corresponds with C, because this is your correct answer. So you keep doing that up to question number 100. For each question, shade in full the corresponding cycle. So some of the mistakes that have happened previously, I took a few of them. So for example, this candidate's number was 100153, and instead of shading the exam ID like vertically but horizontally correspondingly, this candidate was shading vertical. And okay, the numbers are like 0, 1 something, but they are not correct because this number is not 100153 according to the app. So if you do this, if you fill all the cycle corresponding to your exam ID in a vertical fashion, the app will not identify this as a correct exam ID, and this will be a different candidate. So that you were supposed to fill like one. So this is the first cycle that he was supposed to shed, and then 0 would be this one, then 0, 1, and then you go to 5 and 3. The same applies to this candidate also. There was a mistake where there is an overlap of numbers, and all these are wrong. And if you do this in tomorrow's exam, your results will not be available once you do the examination. So please make sure you are following the instruction properly. So how to best fill the responses, the acceptable mark that you have to put in the answer that you think is correct is a full shading of the whole cycle. This is the only acceptable way of shading your answers. Any other mark will not be recognized as responses, and the marking application will check all these as incorrect answers even when they're correct. So shading is the only acceptable style of putting your correct responses. So I think in brief, that is all. I hope these instructions are easy to understand, but in case you have questions during the examination, in the examination room, ask for assistance and don't shade the answers unless you are sure of what you are doing. All the best, and I wish you a nice day.